What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Behind Show. In today's video, I want to be continuing my series of Path of the Draft. And this Path of the Draft video is of the Atlanta Falcons. I want to be talking about the Atlanta Falcons off-season moves, and I will also be doing a 3-round mock draft for Atlanta from ProFootballNetwork.com. Let's go ahead and get started here. Obviously, the biggest move the Atlanta Falcons made in the offseason was trading quarterback Matt Ryan to the Indianapolis Colts. They received a 3rd-round pick in that trade. And, since they traded Matt Ryan, they signed quarterback Marcus Mariota to a 2-year deal worth around $19 million. And this move actually kind of makes quite a bit of sense because, their head coach is Arthur Smith, who was formerly the offensive coordinator with the Tennessee Titans, where he coached Marcus Mariota. So there's already a connection there. Mariota already kind of knows the offense a little bit. So that's a pretty good signing there for, Atlanta by signing a guy who already kind of knows the system. And I think it could be a good, mentor to a young quarterback, maybe they draft in the 2nd round or so. But to me, I think it's kind of strange that Atlanta would, trade Matt Ryan instead of keeping him to mentor a young quarterback. To me, I would much rather have Atlanta mentor a young quarterback led by Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is potentially a future Hall of Famer. He's been in the Super Bowl. I would much rather have my young quarterback be mentored by Matt Ryan compared to Marcus Mariota, who many would say he's a bust. He was a 2nd pick overall, has never lived up to the hype of that. But, that's just my opinion. That's kind of strange to me. But Mariota signing, it does make a lot of sense because of familiarity there. But, looking at some other, moves they made as well, they signed linebacker Rashaan Evans. Rashaan Evans, it was a 1-year deal worth about $2 million. He had 57 tackles last season and 2 interceptions. He is someone else who also came from Tennessee, so kind of makes lots of sense there. They signed edge rusher Lorenzo Carter. Lorenzo Carter signed a 1-year deal worth $3.5 million. He had 50 tackles last season, 5 sacks, and 1 interception. I think getting some more defense players is really good for Atlanta because their defense has been horrendous these past couple of seasons. They re-signed their kicker, Younghoe Koo, a fan favorite in Atlanta, to a 5-year deal worth about $25 million. Signing a big contract with him for 5 years, $5 a year. And one of the best kickers in the NFL. It's very smart for Atlanta to keep on to him as long as they possibly can. And they also re-signed Cordell Patterson to a 2-year deal worth $10.5 million. Cordell Patterson is basically like a Swiss Army knife. He could literally do pretty much everything. This past season, he had 618 rushing yards with 6 rushing touchdowns, and he also had 548 receiving yards, along with 5 receiving touchdowns as well. And I think it's great, getting Cordell Patterson, staying in this Atlanta offense because, he was really one of the only, bright spots of this Atlanta team this past season, him and Kyle Pitts. It'll be very interesting to see, what Atlanta does, in the draft. We are less than 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. So let's go ahead and get started with this 3-round mock draft here from ProFootballNetwork.com. Lots of people have the Atlanta Falcons, mocking them to get a wide receiver. And, I would have to agree with them there. When you look at it, Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, Drake London, all very talented wide receivers. But as we get closer to the NFL draft, it kind of appears that, in my opinion, the way it's looking, Garrett Wilson from Ohio State might be the first wide receiver taken in the 2022 NFL draft. And I think, he will be selected by the Atlanta Falcons. Some people maybe even think the Falcons should go quarterback in the 1st round. I'm not totally against that idea, but I think it's probably safe here to go wide receiver because, even if Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett are available with the 8th pick overall, this quarterback class is not good. In my opinion, I don't think it's worth the risk to draft a quarterback in the 1st round who you're still not really for sure is going to be a great quarterback for years to come. I think getting a wide receiver here, whether it's Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, Drake London, any of those 4, in my opinion, I think that'd be great for them. I want to take Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver from Ohio State here with the 8th overall pick in the 2022 NFL draft. So when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, they have 1 1st-round pick. They have 2 2nd-round picks, and they have 2 3rd-round picks. So when you look at the Falcons here, looking at some of the team needs, in my opinion, I feel they can use more help at wide receiver. Obviously, we just took Garrett Wilson. I wouldn't be shocked if maybe they took a quarterback here, depending who's available. They could use more edge rushers. They can use some more, defense. Because, like I said, their defense has been horrendous this past couple of seasons. Carson Strong here at 43. I think that's a little bit way too early there. But if he's available at, let's say, 74 or something like that, if I'm Atlanta, I would maybe pull the trigger on getting a quarterback who could possibly take over Marcus Mariota's starting job in a year or two in Atlanta. So when you look at Atlanta, some of these best players available here, they have a job with the edge rusher from Michigan, in my opinion. They need edge, and that makes a lot of sense. He's going to miss the majority of the 2021 NFL season, but I think that's somebody to definitely look into. They can use more help at corner. And Kyler Gordon, the corner from Washington, and also the corner from UTSA, Tariq Woolen, two very, very talented corners here. Kind of both should be gone here at 43, honestly. I want to take Kyler Gordon here. I think it's a tremendous pickup by Atlanta. Tariq Woolen would have been a fantastic pick as well. Looking at some, safety here, Jalen Petrie, the safety from Baylor, I think is a very underrated player. He can kind of play a little bit of corner and safety as well. So when you look at this, Falcons team here, we are on their second round pick. Looking at some edge rushers, Maja Saunders, the edge rusher from Cincinnati, is maybe someone to look at here, and also Nick Benito, the edge rusher from Oklahoma, I think will be a solid pickup there as well. But so far, we have drafted Garrett Wilson and Kyler Gordon. Let's look at some players available here. Let's kind of go with the offense, see who's available. Trey McBride, obviously, is probably the best offensive player there, but we're not going to take him because, they have Kyle Pitts. John Mechie and Jalen Tolbert, to me, I'm kind of surprised both are available. And I would not be shocked at all if Atlanta Falcons go wide receiver heavy, early in this draft. This wide receiver class is loaded. And, John Mechie, to me, I think it's a tremendous pickup here at 58. I know some Atlanta fans might not like it, taking wide receiver 2 of the first 3 picks. But I want to take John Mechie here with the 58th overall pick. As we continue here with the 74th overall pick, they have 2 third-round picks here. Let's kind of look at some defensive players. Nick Cross, the safety from Maryland, is a very nice player there. Kobe Bryant, the corner from Cincinnati, would be a tremendous player, but we already took Kyler Gordon. Looking at some edge rushers and defensive tackles. There's not really anybody that any stands out to me a ton. Looking at some safeties. Nick Cross, like I said, from Maryland, I think that'd be a tremendous pickup. Get some more secondary help because Atlanta's secondary has been kind of bad these past couple of seasons. We want to take Nick Cross here with a 74th pick overall. I like that quite a bit there. And kind of looking maybe some offensive players, depending who's available. We already kind of doubled down on wide receiver early in this draft. Looking quarterback, there's not really anybody who I would take here 82. Bailey Zappi, to me, is somebody I like quite a bit. But if he's available at, let's say, 114, or maybe they trade back from 114 down to, let's say, 130, I don't think that would be bad if Zappi was around that range for Atlanta. But I think at 82 here, it's a little bit too early for Bailey Zappi going, being picked in the draft so far. Looking at some edge rushers here, Sam Williams from Mississippi, I think that's somebody maybe look into because, Atlanta has yet to attack edge rusher here. Want to go ahead and take Sam Williams, the edge rusher from Mississippi. He might not be a best player available, but it's a team need. And he's one of the better defensive players available here, so I don't think it's a bad pickup there. But when you look at Atlanta Falcons mock draft, you have Garrett Wilson, Kyler Gordon, John Mechie, Nick Cross, and Sam Williams. Some very talented players who are going to be a huge part of the Atlanta Falcons, future for years to come. Let me know what you think in the comments on this mock draft and, this offseason moves and kind of recap here for the Atlanta Falcons. That about does it for this video here. If you're new to the channel or you've seen my videos before, I would really, really appreciate it if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time on the Sports Behind Show.